It's Muscoco, Ricky, Nico, Locusi, Johnny, Gators, and Bossa, Lily, Hannibal, Blizzard, this party, Red Nana, Red Tsunami, Red Creeks, and a Red Ferrari, Red Clay, will range your bodies, Medical, and X a body, ya, bless. They call me Mr. Manifest. You fellas screaming out the chest. I got this technique best. I found my destination through a red light. Rock your soul through the daylight. Hot your going crazy, right? Nancy going crazy, right up, man, fight. I'm purple hazy through the night. I'm thinking chili out of spite. I'm thinking suki for the slice. I'm speaking Alabama cream. I'm South going through the streets. I rock that rage out of day. Koozie King is out of ranges. Koozie.
Good evening, everyone. This is Doni Glover coming to you live from Baltimore. Welcome to the Indigenous Series, Remember Who You Are. You know, last week's show did something powerful. Sunday night show, really, really hot. Touched the nerve, and when you touch a nerve, that means you're getting close to the truth. We try to read every comment. Gregory was talking about how the world is finally acknowledging that we are the Aboriginal peoples of Turtle Island. Audacity challenging us about wearing our own hair, asking hard questions about colonization, what that has done to how we see ourselves. The scholar was dropping knowledge about Alex Haley and Kunta Kinte, which was a plagiarized story, reminding us that most of us cannot trace. Let me change that. He says that most of us cannot trace our lineage back to Africa, no matter what we've been told. And then Gary had a comment, pushing back on the Afrocentric narrative, breaking down the 1526 Ayllon, Ayllon expedition, the Caribs, the Moors, the Sephardic Jews, the real players in this story. So we covered a lot of things, and we might as well bring up our boys. Mafia, Hannibal, you there? What's happening with you, gentlemen?
Peace. All is well.
You hear me?
Hear you loud and clear, sir.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
How everybody doing tonight?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yes, sir. Good to see you, brothers.
Already.
Ori Shabazz is over at everyone's place is sponsoring Tony Browder tonight over on Utah Place.
Okay.
Thank you, Ori.
Yeah.
Tony Browder, no doubt a scholar. Mafia, where you been at? Think the people want to hear from you.
Yeah, man, I've just been underground. Sometimes I gotta take time for myself, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's just working on my mind, and you know what I'm saying?
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
just working on myself for real. That's all. Nobody likes to come to the party empty-handed. So if my energy ain't up to par, I'm not gonna put myself through that.
Okay. Yes, sir. So you said that everybody is finding out that we the true natives of the Turtle Island, right?
That's what the comments were saying.
Yes, sir. And I see a lot of videos. You know, a lot of more people is talking about this, and you know what I'm saying. And it's one video in particular that says it's more than 565. It's 565 federally recognized tribes, but it's thousands or more. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of us. So I advise everybody to do their due diligence and, like I say all the time, and research their family history. And so how today's been for you guys? How today was for you, Donnie?
Busy day today. Shot a podcast over at StemCityUSA.com. Special thank you to Brian Davis, engineer over there, preparing for this week's television show. Special thanks to G. Grant Griffin Media, people who help to keep our television show going. And then I'm doing some work with some other organizations, some community organizations, and everybody's getting in shape for the new year that's coming in. It's all about, if you're not talking about February, March, April, you're really not in business.
Wow.
This is December, the end of December. If your business, if you haven't thought about like what your summer extravaganza thing is going to be, then you're really not in business. You really,
right? You got
to plan, and the longer you're in business, you know that there's a time and a season. December, you're getting ready for January for February, but all the while you're looking down. It's like being a quarterback,
right?
You get a couple of 5 yard, couple of $5,000, couple of 2,500, but then every day you gotta throw the ball. Go for one of them 7,500s, one of them 10 grand, one of them 100 grands.
Right.
But you got to keep swinging. Or like baseball. I really look at business a lot like baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Give me base hits. You just want to make contact. You just want to make one sale. Right. You ain't got to make a whole bunch of sales. Just make one sale.
Right.
Then make another sale. If your business is like mine, my business it's constantly selling. That's a part of it. That's the business part. Everybody sees, the lights, the cameras. Right. They see you showing up. They see you got the mic in people's faces. But those people have to be paid. And you have to be paid. And you have to be paid well because you want to pay them well.
Right.
A man in business here in the city of Baltimore, his name is Eddie Brown. He and his wife, Sylvia, they have a foundation, richest Black people in the area, billionaires. He said once at a business talk, he said, you have to offer your employees the best compensation package in the region, not in your city, but in the region. Right, if you want the best.
Right, because you got people you got people that's looking for stability. You get what I mean? When they go work for someone, they're looking for a decent livable wage. They're looking for benefits, you know what I'm saying? Maybe some FMLA, the Family Medical Leave Act, maybe a little vacation time. You know what I'm saying? They're looking for some competitive wages, like I said. And if you can offer the best packages for the best qualified folks, then hey, you got them. Just like here in Michigan at one time, they wasn't doing that. So our best qualified folks left the state and went to other places. Now they were scrapping. Right, you got to pay people. Right. And that's the whole deal. You got to pay people. And then at the same time, people got to be able to be qualified for these positions that these certain jobs want.
Absolutely.
I learned that like each community college is sponsored by the business people that's in that community. So whatever the jobs is according to the people that fund that community college there. You get what I mean? So if you really want to get in, that's where your that's where your leverage is at getting in that community college. You know what I mean?
And that's the reason for these people down at the bottom.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I love our
they keep the
the
operation going.
Definitely.
Yes, sir.
So everywhere I go, I take them with me. The television, the website. That's my job. Now, let me tell you something, Hannibal. You're going to rock these comments. You're going to rock it right. Otherwise, you're going to take your hands off the comments. Because you'll put one up and then you leave it. It's come on now, pimp.
Yes, sir. I got you.
They be rolling over here. Do you see them?
I'm seeing them, man. I'm seeing them. It's a whole bunch of them. It's kind of hard to keep up with them.
I got you. But if you see one you like, you go back and pull it. But I'll rock it, okay?
Yeah, but I like that one that said that's why people run to the military for benefits and pay. I did. I was 18, you know what I'm saying? And it wasn't no stability for me. Wasn't no path for me. Then I had to get the hell out of Detroit. Excuse my language, to get out of Detroit. So I went to the military. But you know what I'm saying? So it wasn't a bad choice. A lot of us, the majority of people in the service is us. You know what I mean? It always has been. Look it up. It always been us fighting here. We ain't no cowards. You know what I'm saying? Every war that's been here, we done fought in.
Right.
There's been over 200 of them. Look it up.
Yeah.
So because we practice emotional intelligence on this show, Mafia, I think these people want to hear a little bit more from you. You do you see these comments? I think you need to say something.
I appreciate it. Much gratitude. Shout out to the chat. And I
call
appreciate
them by
the
name,
love.
man. They giving you love, man.
DJ Sweetness, Big My Baby. What's that?
You gotta call them by name, man. We love our sisters, man.
Yeah,
they
shout
put
out.
the APB out on you. You gonna act like
I appreciate it. I appreciate the love, man. I said thank you. Much gratitude.
Yes, sir.
It's good to see the brothers. Like I say, if I don't my energy be down, I don't want to bring the low frequency. You know what I mean?
Well, hey, bro, get over that. Get over yourself. This family here. I was just thinking about my family on the east side. I live over west, but I got peeps over east. 20th and Greenmount, 20th in Homewood, 20th and Boone. That's my block, 700 block.
Right.
I remember one day I was having the worst day ever. The worst day ever. And I'm pretty sure it has something to do with a woman, and I'm pretty sure it has something to do with some liquor. I'm pretty sure about that part. But what I'm getting to is we gotta know who is our tribe, because it's in the moments that of those low frequencies that you find out who people really are in your life.
I understand that.
Can Hannibal, Planet, can either one of you relate to that?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. People.
How so? Tell me.
People tend to kick you when you're down.
Absolutely.
When you down, people tend to kick you, but you find those that's got your back is the ones that's in your corner, that's there when you down. You get what I mean? Not trying to kick you down, but rise you up, lift you up. You get what I mean?
And
I
the worst,
appreciate the love, man.
And the worst thing you can do is kick yourself when you're down.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, that's where your friends come in, because obviously you done kicked yourself so much in the butt that, especially if I can't speak for nobody else, but Lord knows, don't let me get that Patron and have a pity party. Lord!
Yeah.
So she said it, Mafia, and I'm saying this because we are family. This is public, but we public. The show is public. And so we heal each other. I don't know how other communities do it, but we heal each other. Planet call and check on me. Absolutely. We call and check on him. We check on you. You check on us. That's what we do. And these people, although we have never met them physically, they family.
No, I appreciate the love, man. And that's another thing I had to work on as well, though, is just, being my own disciplinarian at times. A lot of my self-talk was hard on myself. So I had to learn how to, give myself grace in those periods of that time. So, and I appreciate the love as well. You know what I'm saying? So we all going through a reprogramming, and I appreciate, everybody for the love and support. So if you kind of hard on yourself, sometimes you gotta, if you hard on yourself, you gotta learn some time to give yourself grace and accept yourself in that way.
Yeah, that's the best
Big
part.
Mom Baby, I love, peace, and we all send energies right now to Big Mom Baby. She said, "You wouldn't believe what I'm going through right now, but coming here makes things okay." Let's all send some love right now to Big Mom Baby. Just send it right to her. Just send peace and blessings her way.
Yes.
Whatever you're going through, that's right. Because we don't do phone.
I see.
Yes, sir. You know, that's where it started. You know, making a family and making a tribe for what we got right here. You get what I mean? We started from ground zero and we're building family like they're supposed to be. In which, you know what I'm saying? That's what we are. We're all tied. You know what I'm saying? Ain't wasn't too many, like you said, wasn't too many people that came here. So the majority of people that we descend from are the indigenous folks that are related anyway. You get what I mean?
Correct.
Yeah.
So,
hey, Ori, I put the link in there if you want to give us some Tony Browder. He insists. Let me tell you now, I'm going to keep it real. I don't know if y'all remember, Ori is Afrocentric.
Okay.
Afrocentric. And he doesn't subscribe to the Paleo-American, the autochthonous, as we know as the indigenous conversation.
Yes, sir.
I do. And let me tell you why. Because nobody has touched this. And it probably would take a statistician. It will probably take some type of computing. I'll say it again. 400,000 Africans were transported directly to North America. 400,000. There are 44 million today. Are you telling me that from 400,000, 44 million developed?
It's impossible. You know what I mean?
Right.
Look at the number like you said, that went down to Brazil. It's impossible for it to be that many people here compared to the amount of people in Brazil. When you
they say about roughly 9 to 10 million went to Brazil. Today, there are 110 million people in Brazil. What we don't know is how many people were already here in both instances, because I submit to you that the indigenous people to Brazil look like the indigenous peoples in Southern Africa. Though that was one land body at one time, because South America fits right up into West Africa. Any blind person can see that. It was one large landmass. So the people, it's the same people.
Correct.
But we have this mentality. We have this block. That there is no way black people were here first. All because of what some other people have told us. People who have lied, colonized, raped, murdered, dropped smallpox, everything diabolical. Bombs on Tulsa's Black Wall Street, on Philadelphia's Move, only on black people in America. We gonna say that they are the authority on history.
Yeah.
That's where the line is drawn for me. You can't tell me nothing. And the Smithsonian, the more I dig on them people, the more I see how much they've hidden, and they control the narrative of history. Harvard, I done told y'all, Harvard, UCLA, those institutions, they got a lock on archaeology. If they said it, oh God, it must be true. Like they don't lie.
Right, Charles Darwin.
Darwin connected to Charles Galton, connected to Margaret Sanger.
You know, we come
she said black people are like weeds that need to be exterminated. The mother of Planned Parenthood. And don't say that to the wrong upwardly mobile liberal black woman, because she'll say, oh, they provide health services. They have killed more black babies than anybody on planet Earth. Planned Parenthood.
Yeah. That's why I think it was important what you were saying as far as in, entrepreneurship and business and stability and things of those sort, because a lot of times the access that we have to stability or financial freedom or security is a part of the same system that hold these institutions and hold the information in place. So it's a balance between finding true sovereignty and, survival, or, living in a social order that withhold this information or is a part of this continuum.
Well, this country was built on like a master and slave dynamics anyway, right? So you got the boss and the employee. So it's like in times where the country is going through hard times, it's best for those who's trying to find a way to start some type of business.
Right.
You get what I mean? And that's during any type of way. If you really want to find your way, start a business. And that's where, like what Donnie started off saying, that it takes you to have the foresight and fruition to start a business. And that's in anything, whether you're selling sandwiches, selling candy, whatever you decide to do. You get what I mean? I think that we'll have a better time being our own bosses and, and doing our own thing, And that's one thing I can say about this younger generation. You get what I mean? That I see them more business minded than we were.
Yeah, entrepreneurial spirit.
Yeah, they do. Whether they're showing that you can be a content creator and make money. They're showing that you can do things that's against the grain, and that's what we always did.
Well,
Right.
Well, one of the things that the hip hop revolution did, right, was because it overrided the record stores, right? But because people with mixtapes and selling out the trunk of their car, you see, blew up, right? So it really galvanized the black youth, to see it that way. And I think it lit the entrepreneurial spirit in a lot of black people of that generation. You feel me?
Yeah. Right. So you correlating the hip hop generation with this acumen of business.
Exactly.
Yeah. But and one thing I noticed, like with the generation, like of my father, they was born like in the 40s, like he was born in 44. Mm-hmm. So that was the generation that was like in their 20s and around when Malcolm and them was coming along. They want nothing like their parents is like the first generation removed from slavery.
Right.
You get what I mean? So they didn't know no better. You know what I'm saying? They went out. A lot of people that got the connections, they hoarded them. So that's when we get these gatekeepers or these boule or this bourgeois class amongst us. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? You guys got anything to say about that?
Well, some of those situations were the only situations that were available.
Right.
You feel me?
Yeah.
So a lot of them got in through that, right? Now, the thing is, the old adage is true, though. If you go in a room full of chalk dust, some of it's bound to get on you.
That's the deal. Right.
Yeah.
So, that's one of the things, right? The other thing is, like you said, these people are coming out of the white supremacy racist system of incarcerating, subjects of, war victims, right? For 300 plus years. So consequently, that's a hell of a learning curve, and whoever they were remarkable. Right? Because they're just evolving past the concept of being, 3/5 of a human. You feel me?
Right. That's
and centuries of not being able to learn the current culture's language.
Correct.
Right. So that's a remarkable thing. That's no matter how you look at it, it's remarkable.
Yeah, I don't want to take it away or belittle that generation because I read about them, like with King and them, they leaving the South and going up to Boston to the universities. You know, you had people leaving, going thousands of miles to learn, where people was donating their whole savings for one person in the family to go learn something. But look at, you know what I'm saying? But I think that's when we were striving. You know, a lot of us knew the sacrifices that the ancestors gave.
Yeah.
But it's like now it's like amongst a lot of us, it's nothing. You know what I'm saying? So how can we revive this spirit of what was given up by
it's like
people?
it's like Planet said though, it's a learning curve. You know what I'm saying? If you go from like you say, out of slavery, miseducation, we go through the industrial period. Now we more so digital. So it's still learning curves and language learning curves and, you know what I'm saying, systematic learning curves.
A lot of people forget, you know, in other words, you see a lot of people, you know, walking around dreadlock and all that. Yeah. Yeah. Try that in 1972.
Right.
Now, you know, you got everybody, the football players and the this, that, you know what I'm saying? Try it in 1972.
Right.
With your own people. Try it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, these people paved the way in a lot of instances. Now, once again, you know, there was a lot of them that got addicted to that money. All right. And a lot of times that money comes with an agenda and you have to fulfill the agenda to keep, you know, stay in the game.
Right.
But you know, I just love our people, you know, and understand that certain conditions and certain times, right? Right. So in other words, you have a situation where you have the field, homie, and then you got the house, homie, right?
Right.
Well, if you weren't in the house, you couldn't put the glass in the meal to take out the homie. You feel me? So you can't always say, you know, a lot of times people took a great sacrifice,
right?
You know, to get up in the house so they could make a move.
Right.
To know when to make a move.
To know when to make a move and to steal, you know, what they could, food to hook up the homies in the field, you know. So
get the logistics together.
Yeah, exactly.
Even the access to the information.
Correct.
In which we just coming into now, just to have access to the information.
Correct.
To be able to share with the village or the people. You know what I'm saying? So,
you know, another thing that's very interesting is that in these shifts of cycles, right? A lot of times you can parallel those shifts with technology, whether it's going from a covered wagon to a car, you know, going from a car to flying, you know, all of these things shift things, okay? Or the age of computers shifted things, you know, and now we have the age of AI, which is also going to shift things, right? So, you know, one of the things that from the art world that I saw was that there was a focus on indigenous artifacts or whatever from that time period, right? So I'm always, although I value that, right? But I'm always concerned about, well, what would the indigenous person be today? Not, you know, so much being seduced by the romanticism of the old, but what would they bring to the table today? Right?
Right.
And some of it you can see in the new hip hop dances and stuff like that. They have a certain flavor that's right, bringing that same essence, but bringing it into today. You know,
yeah,
that's just one example, but yeah.
but it's like the information as well. It's like, whether you in Christianity or Islam, any of that, it still stem from the same source. So that's why a lot of us are still connected to this information, or even this Afrocentric thought process, or like you say, a linear thought. And to value, like the comments say, value the love and the wellness and food and shelter, and knowing that less is more, and having a value in that. And
exactly.
Have you guys ever heard of genetic memory? Like,
Yeah,
you do things because your ancestors did things. I think that, I think the indigenous aspect or what we contribute is what we got now. From the food ways, you get what I mean? The indigenous foods that is here. You know what I'm saying? The soul food that we eat, the manly, how we rhyme, that was the nicknames that we got. That's them indigenous traits of having a regular name and then having a nickname amongst a family.
Absolutely.
So I think that the memory is there, but we don't know until we research and start correlating certain behavior traits that we have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think it's really deep. What's the guy named Kumio Ahua? Who got the guy we're talking about?
Yeah, the guy on YouTube.
Kudimero.
Yeah, he got a video that I was just watching prior to I'm getting on, and he got it's about Israelites and a Massachusetts Native American coming together. And the way that the Massachusetts Native American, he's an Algonquin, but his tribe is Mashuqua. That's how they pronounce it. The way he explained it is what people don't want to hear. You get what I mean? And I think it's the history. This history of Turtle Island is diverse. You got a lot of, how did they make metal here? In order to make metal, you got to have a cauldron, right? So you make a cauldron, it got to be brass, right? So to make brass, you need copper and tin. So here in this country, copper comes from Michigan and tin comes from Alabama. So these natives, like my people in Alabama and where I'm living at right now in Michigan, wasn't together, how was they making arrows? How was they smelting these things? Because you can't smelt it into something that's gonna burn.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm saying that we got the knowledge. You know what I'm saying? We just gotta rethink, retrain, relearn. It was just not gonna come out the blue. You got to get in the books.
Right.
You got to do your due diligence and get in the books.
Right.
The other thing that's a touchy thing, and that is the religious thing, right? So I certainly am not going to say, because my mother, I'm from New York City, New York thing. My mother, every time I went out, prayed every time, right? So, and I see that she levitated into some protection to me, you're right, somehow, okay, but that was based on her intention, right? Now, the people, we're going to generalize and say the invaders, right? One of the heaviest trip that they laid, right, was that there was no spiritual / religious relationship that the so-called savages had here. Okay?
Yeah.
So you had to, at best, pick a religion, right? And they were controlling all of the religions, right? So you had to fit your trip into that, right? assume some kind of spiritual connection.
And would that be based on geographical location too, though, right? Based
Absolutely.
on what territory and what area you in, depending on what religion you had to choose from or which one was ordained for that area.
The Utes had to deal with the Mormons.
Right.
You know, other parts of the country had to deal with the Methodists or the
So,
Baptists.
yes, sir. So I'm saying all this to say is, could we actually say that the people amongst us, our religious beliefs may have contributed to the breakup of our families, because people go their separate ways and adhere to like-minded people. You know what I'm saying? Could we contribute that to,
Most
Absolutely.
definitely.
Okay.
Right.
Absolutely.
And then there was a lot of corruption, and still is, in a lot of these so-called Christian churches. Right. So there's a good side to it, where people were able to get together. Because listen, it used to be that the only place you could get together
was church.
was church.
Right.
Only place they would allow you to get together. So consequently, that's part of the programming, right? Because in I don't know how it is now. I ain't looked at the Bible and whatever, but
Right.
they used to have little pictures in it. You know, I can remember that as a kid, right? We weren't included in that picture. So psychologically, you would think that the spiritual, okay, the Pope, the minister, the pastor, the angels,
Right.
okay, okay, all of
Right.
them didn't look like you.
Right. But what I done noticed though, Planet, is that it's the same thing consistent, that they done whitewash basically everything.
Correct.
They pulled us out of it, put themselves in it. You get what I mean? Even when you go into the Greeks and you listen to their scholar Herodotus, and he talks about going into Egypt or whatever, and he talks about learning higher mathematics and higher learning from blacks. You get what I mean? So if their ancient philosophers learn their ways from us, why do the people today don't listen to us? When we being philosophical about things and rational about things, you get what I mean?
Because we got tricked out of who we are.
Right.
And it's not in a common institutional setting. We receive validity or information from an institutional standpoint. So be as though that we in New York on the corners, debating and sharing the information, and we on the internet. It has a different. You receive it different.
I think that. I think that that it's like a how you have a common language or a common place. Yeah. So like back in the 60s or back in the 50s, they took the university as a common place to express these different types of thoughts. So you got a common thing to learn, the basics.
Mm-hmm.
But when you get into higher education, it's about your perspective of what you see.
Right.
You get what I mean? And how this correlates to your world. You get what I mean? So I think a lot of us be afraid of speaking what we think because it might sound stupid or it might seem stupid, or so everybody don't see what I see. You get what I mean? And that's a fallacy, because all great minds see things before everybody else see them.
Correct.
Right.
Well, that's just I believe that the education of us, the business minding of us, goes for us being secure in our own being. You know what I mean? No matter how it is, no matter what state of level of life you want to be secure where you at.
Right.
All right, y'all. So look, this is the last show of the year. You know that?
Yeah, the last Tuesday.
Yeah, the next show is Thursday. That's January 1st. And where all the free calendars at? Did y'all get y'all's?
No.
No, you should get them. I mean, people give them out all through Christmas. Give them out the calendars.
Yeah.
Them damn calendars at.
They ain't
The oil man usually bring one. Man, shout out to these people in the chat. Ocean, never seen Ocean 7089, Center of Learning Platforms, Institutions of Education. Big Ma Baby, but they shout each other out. And this is a therapeutic, safe space. We're all about learning from each other and encouraging each other. And we will take a moment to check in on each other. We do that every show, don't we? And we do that when the show is over.
Right.
Yeah.
We check in on each other. This is not for fake. This is for real, for real. I hear my son, he says, for real. He used the word I haven't heard since I was a kid. He said someone was acting goofy.
Yeah,
hadn't heard that word in a while. Goofy.
Yeah, that's one of them trendy things now. These youngers got so many words they say, man.
Yeah,
I got a text. He said, "I." You know how to spell "I"? AIIGHT. I. Charlie Duggar. Yeah, no, Charlie's not free. Matter of fact, I owe Charlie. I got him right over there. About 4 of his. Charlie Duggar is the brother who took me on the radio 45 years ago. Charlie Duggar, this brother you're acknowledging right here. Charlie Duggar. That's Bob around here. He took me on the radio 45 years ago. I've been on ever since. I was 15 years old. Baba Charlie Duggar. He had an old school bus. Green. Dark green. It was the ugliest school bus in the history of school buses. One of them old joints. But we went out to swim at Druid Hill Park pool. It was a city pool. He used to take us over to the jail. We would play basketball versus the inmates. We would do cultural programs over the jail. I mean, Jessup Cut Penitentiary. He was a school teacher. He ran for mayor several times. And the famous line at Baltimore City Public School headquarters for Charlie Duggar is 30 seconds, Mr. Duggar. They would always say that to him. 30 seconds, Mr. Duggar. Why? Because Charlie was there to make a point. Charlie is a person who cares. He's all about our history. All about our history. He can give you, he is an elder that can give a rundown on our history. And I've learned so much from him over the years. And this brother that they acknowledge also in this, it's Brother Cocky. Brother Cocky was a dreadlock like you, Planet Cocky McQueen. He's with the ancestors now. But Cocky McQueen is a phenomenal artist. And I don't know if you can see this, but this is a Malcolm X painting he did. Let me see. It's a big joint. Hold up. Yeah, that's Malcolm X.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
That's cold. It's a cold piece.
So big ups to those elders. And right now is the time of year Brother Charlie does a lot of Kwanzaa celebrations all over town. So he's big on Kwanzaa events. One thing Brother Charlie did, I'll never forget. And the last thing, we live around the corner. I live around the corner from Western District Police Station. If you heard Baltimore on the news about 10 years ago, a young man named Freddie Gray died in police custody or as a result of how he was handled. Because I think what was obvious, they put a knee in the boy back. But long story short, Charlie was doing community awareness type protests at Western District. And I believe the brother's name was Samant Thomas, but a young man who had died also in police custody years ago. I just remember that. That's Brother Charlie Duggar. If you ever, we'll have him on the show one day soon. But he's definitely an elder. Ashe. Planet, were you on the show when we brought on Mukasa?
I don't think so.
You remember Mukasa, Hannibal?
I don't believe so, sir.
All right, well, I didn't mean to steal away your show.
Oh, it's your show, sir. It's all our show, right?
Yeah.
I like the way they, but you know, that's one thing I was just sitting back thinking about the community back in the days and the difference of the community now. You know, we knew everybody by first and last name that lived on the blocks and in the neighborhood. And now we don't know people. You know what I'm saying? I don't know the people who live next to me now. You know what I mean? And that's me too. You know, so it was a different type of it was a different spirit back in the days. You know, different meaning of community because we only had each other. You know, and a generation prior to that, they couldn't go out and go into the community and other people's communities like we could. You know, so
right. Yeah, lost connections. You know what I mean?
lost
and it's
connections.
yeah, and it's also building over common things though, and finding it's hard to find the commonalities other than TV, drama, sports.
Yeah. But it's all reflection, you know what I'm saying? It's like tomorrow is the New Year's, guys, and it's new things set ahead and new things on the horizon for us and our people if we keep finding and keep understanding that we got indigenous ties to this place, which gives us a claim to this place, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's what a lot of our people is tuning in to understand that part and understand what the ancestors is doing prior to colonization. You know what I'm saying? So the information is there. It's just that you got to get the hints. So what I advise everybody to do is, if you can get to the point in your genealogy research at emancipation and you can find them locations where your ancestors were, that's where we want to find them tribes that's there. And then we can go from there.
You gentlemen ever heard of Weeksville?
And that's what state?
No.
Weeksville was a section of Brooklyn. It's still there. It was a independent black community. Black man James Weeks bought some land because they'll tell you, they'll paint a picture like we weren't accomplished. Yes, we had black towns all over the country. We had black sections all over the country. And we got to know our history. I wrote about it in my second book, I Am Black Wall Street. But let me show you a map. And this is for people in New York. You ever meet a New Yorker? And I'm not going to put you on the spot, Planet. But ask them, do they know about, if they're from Brooklyn, they're from East New York, ask them, do they know about Weeksville?
Okay.
Now, I got a map for you to give you a better perspective on it. This is Weeksville.
Mm-hmm.
Crown Heights is over there with him, with that big story of the Jews chased the black guy and beat him to death.
Mm-hmm.
That was Crown Heights, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
In
Let's
best
see
times,
what you got
we
here.
live at, right?
Brownsville, Bedford-Stuyvesant. Yeah.
Black community back in the day.
Yeah.
And then I've shared with you many times about Seneca Village, right there in between 82nd and 89th Street. A black man bought land, a melanated man bought land, and the city took it through eminent domain, and it became a part of Central Park. And a lot of times they steal our land, and they where our cemeteries were.
Right.
They got a thing for destroying our cemeteries, disrespecting our ancestors.
Right, they dug up something by Wall Street one time and found a lot of graves, right? I think that was up there.
That's what I understand.
I have to.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just in Tulsa, Texas. I will tell you, nobody has more black towns than Texas. East Texas alone had 500 black towns. How many of us knew that?
Yeah, we definitely did it with it.
Yeah, but that was like Spanish territory at one time too. So it was a like you said, you had the English and you had the French here, and you know they was playing sides. You get what I mean? You know, not being a slave here, but go to the Spanish territory, but live under the caste system, and you know, go to the French territory, be part of the system, and become, you know, a different type of person. Then, you know, so.
Somebody just popped in on this planet.
Yeah.
So I got a picture for you of Seneca Village. Now that's Brooklyn. Let's go over to Manhattan. Hold up, Seneca. What happened? Oh, I'm in the wrong one. You all right, Planet?
Yeah. A little technical thing.
Okay, here's Seneca Village for you, in between 82nd and 89th Street.
Yeah.
Right.
This is one picture of it.
Yeah, that's a deep one right there.
Yeah. Yeah. Still built with the underground, overground type of pyramid type of sense.
I got an even better one for you now. So when people say that we were lazy and any of those things, just disregard them, because they don't know what they're talking about. And somebody tell you to go back to your land, tell them, no, you go back to your land. This is a much better one. So that's 82nd down the bottom, up the top left, 89th Street. So you see how much land? That's 7 New York City blocks. And you imagine, what, 3-4 blocks wide? Or maybe even longer.
You know what, Donnie? You ever heard of up here in
Maybe
Detroit?
like 6 blocks wide.
Up here in Detroit, we had a neighborhood called Paradise Valley. They ran I-75 through it. That's a historical black neighborhood, man. And then we had Black Bottoms where they ran 375. That's where the stadium's at right now. If you look at it, you go down where Ford Field at, where Little Caesar Arena, where the Pistons play at, then you got where the Red Wings is at. But that little freeway that goes through there, that was a historical black neighborhood. And then it used to be the Brewster Projects. They used to sit right there where Diana Ross, Smokey Robinson, and all them people come from. And then the original Motown was there. You get what I mean? So all that stuff's gone.
Right.
You know what I mean? You know, we went through here in Detroit, our downtown closed at 5 o'clock after Mayor Young say stay on the other side of 8 Mile. We told all white folks stay on the other side of 8 Mile, and they did. You know what I'm saying? And he was our mayor for about 20 years. You know, he did good by us. You get what I mean? But they stayed. You know, we had our own water. Because Detroit, the city of Detroit ran the water board. And that's black people running the water board. You know, they took that. You know, they was like that got something to do with why we got the Flint water crisis, because that was Detroit's water used to go out there. You get what I mean? So it's a big mess, you know, because when black people get an edge up, you know, people want it, you know, and that's just it. You know.
I tell beauticians all the time, before you go building out in that salon that you renting, you know, the sister that took an empty space and turned it into a beauty salon and it became real popular, the same space that the landlord couldn't rent. What do you think the first thing he's going to do when that lease come back around?
Jack the price up.
He going up on the price. Before you go building out somebody else's joint, you may want to look at how to get it and own it yourself. I've seen it happen time and time again. They go in, they build it out, and end up leaving.
Right. Yeah. That's why the land aspect is so important. Yeah. Understanding, you know, the land rights.
Right.
That's correct too.
But that's happening all over America though. And I'm sure in every town where it's black people, the highway is going through that part of town. I'm sure we got that in Baltimore.
Yeah. Going through there.
I'm sure it's in Chicago
whatever
and
was historic.
everywhere.
Is y'all schools closing down? Like this high schools y'all had? Do y'all still have them? Like
Not all of them.
Yeah, basically all the high schools gone. There's a handful of them still left.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Well, once again, this new 2026 is ushering in a new age. And that new age is related to AI. So schools is gonna have to, they're gonna have a hell of a trick to stay afloat.
So this is an example of the black towns in Oklahoma, melanated towns, what have you? Oberlin, Wally, Macedonia, Bogey Bend, DJ Sweetness. You know any of these places? Brooksville, Lima, Vernon, Rentisville, Summit, Tallahassee.
It's one place on there that's got connections with us. And see that Grayson?
Where is it? Right, left?
It's in to the right, below Redbird. You see Redbird is in red letters.
Right.
Yeah. Grayson. Yeah, I see Grayson.
Yeah. So you'll say so if you look at an old allotment of Oklahoma, that should be the Creeks territory, and the Cherokee kind of into the Creeks portion of Oklahoma, because it was divided into the 5 nations out there, and the Creeks had that portion right there. That's why you see like places like Redbird or Tallahassee. Either Tallahassee, that's like Tallahassee, that's a Creek word.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because that's like in Florida, they got Tallahassee, so it's got to be similar.
But
got to be the same name.
But Tallahassee comes from out of Alabama. That's where it comes from.
Yeah, so they just took their names with them.
They took their names with them, like Ufala and stuff like that. I can't see that one on there.
So DJ Sweetness says Tatum, Oklahoma was founded by her four great grandma.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I got to tell you that we had a similar situation here in West Baltimore where they knocked down a lot. They locked down blocks and blocks and blocks and blocks. I mean, a whole swath of territory. It wasn't land, it was territory. Straight through West Baltimore. It got rid of all them black people.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
All black people. And they call it the highway to nowhere.
Yeah, same thing.
Because they cut it short. They only did it long enough to rid the blacks. So they painted the picture like, yeah, we're going to build a highway. But instead, they accomplished their goal, getting rid of us.
Yeah,
Baltimore had the largest population of freed black people prior to the Civil War.
Yeah, it's one of the older places, right? That Baltimore and Annapolis.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
St. Mary's County.
That's one of the oldest places when it comes to the Eurocentric people.
I look at Annapolis a lot differently than I do now, though, than I did then.
Annapolis,
especially after learning about Alex Haley and Kunta Kinte and how it's all a lie. They have a festival down there called the Kunta Kinte Festival as a result of this damn lie.
Right.
So we see that no matter where we are in North America, we're having the same issues. Yes. That's why we can't afford to be divided by East Coast, West Coast, none of that foolishness, ever.
All right.
Absolutely.
And our rappers, our entertainers really going to have to get it together. Our entertainers are really going to have to get it together and get their head out of their hind parts, because all of this ratchet behavior, our children are picking up on it. They got to do better. You're a grown man and you're sagging. Why? You're a grown man, son. You're a grown man. You're not a boy.
Right.
You got children, you got daughters, you got what are you doing, son? And these dudes throwing money at little girls. Stop that, bruh. Stop that. Stop that. They're not strippers. Yeah. You're not at the strip club. They're little princesses. If you don't know what to do, step back and sit down. Let somebody else do it. Because clearly, we done lost our day. I'm at a kiddie birthday party, and the music that came on, I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. They're kids. Why are we playing ratchet music around our kids? I don't get that.
I like this.
Social engineering.
It starts at home. Yeah. It starts at home. We can buy them $500 belts, then we can teach them how to read. And the kid need to learn how to read before they go to school. What else are we doing? Planet, what else are we doing? Hey, Planet, didn't you say your mother was a teacher?
Yes.
I know damn well she stayed on you.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
60 is passing. And then we buy into this other thing. Oh, not everybody is made for college. If you tell yourself you ain't made for college, guess what? You ain't made for college.
Mm-hmm.
I don't tell myself that. I'm made for anything that comes my way.
That's right.
Yeah, I like this comment DJ Sweetness made. She says, "We follow Oklahoma as my mother's." Is that you said mother's? What you mean? Could you expound on that? Because that's Creek territory. So you Muskogee as well too, DJ Sweetness. Yes, sir.
East
Texas. See all them black towns? See all them black towns, brother? See all them black. You never even listen. They never meant. You will never hear this in American history. Never. I know because I went and researched it.
Well, that's over there, Corpus Christi, Galveston, and stuff over that way.
The whole damn east of Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I write about it in my book, I Am Black Wall Street, available on Barnes & Noble and Amazon. Doni Glover. About John Horse, came out of Florida, went all the way to Oklahoma. They were still trying to enslave people, and he said, we're going to hightail it to Mexico. They went through Texas, building black towns along the way, as you see in this map right there. The whole right side, you see all that dark green? That's black people.
Yeah.
There's a lot of land.
All that land.
Texas.
Tell me about my people. I'm going to get them on the phone for you. You just hold tight, DJ Sweetness. I know you miss ours. Oh, she's talking about Hannibal. My bad.
It's a Muskogee.
What did he say? It's a Muskogee. What did he say?
Yes, sir. That's saying that. So when I say it's, that's saying that we're a certain class of Muskogee. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's saying that we're the ancient ones.
Connected with the Maya, yo.
Connected with the Maya.
Like the Mayans in South America?
Yeah, that's who we are. Like when you say Muskogee, the Muskogee is the ancient Mayans. Or you say the Olmecs, who you think we are. That's it's right there. You see the Mayans. I see last episode we said the Mayans came up to Georgia to get the blue paint, right?
Yeah.
Right.
They got Olmec heads in Florida.
Yeah, they found. I don't know. Could you find long when I was in high school? I found an article about an Olmec head being found in Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
In the north part, you get me up here.
Man. So I gotta tell y'all,
that's where the Central American history come in.
A cat who came on the show, me and him had it out. We had it out, and he told me I was brainwashed. And he asked me, did I do my DNA? Did I do my genealogy? All this blah blah blah, because he's from Africa, and
Yeah, I thought about it, DJ Sweetness. I can point you in the right direction to learn some things, and I can share some things that I got to point you in the right direction. But you're gonna
be active. Yeah. Latinos, Bozales, be active. Said
so
the first blacks in Texas were called Latinos and Bozales.
So do you know who that is, right? That's who DeSoto brought with him. That's a Sephardic Jew, a Latino.
So those were the Moors that came.
That's who he's talking about. Them the ones I've been saying that came with the.
So they weren't the first. They weren't first then.
No.
So his comment.
He's saying that's
the first. So they weren't the first blacks.
Yeah, look up Latinos with DeSoto in 1540 when he came. That's who he brung. And a Latino is a Sephardic speaking person from Spain, or a black person that, quote unquote, Nebuchadnezzar in the Bible, if you want to get religious, quote unquote, bought there to Spain. You get what I mean? So if you get deeper into the history. But that's what a Latino person is. That's when you get the roots of Latin. That's why Latin is kind of similar to the Hebrew. That's when you get the Greek fraternities like Alpha, Beta, Delta. All these terms is A, B, C, D, the Hebrew Semitic language, the words. You get what I mean? So that's when that's where all that stuff comes from. Or Latin languages, Spanish. You get what I mean?
Right.
Portuguese, Italian, you know. So not English, because English is a German language. That's why we sound like. That's why we say the word morning, like Guten Morgen. That's good morning in German. So it sounds the same. So we speak the German language.
Yeah.
So linguistically, it's learning languages is a fun thing. When you gotta see how and why it came about. Then you're able to speak.
Right.
Thanks.
Yeah. I think that's another time period that you be speaking on too, though, because we talk about everything from the 1600s forward. We don't go from them 1600s back to 1200s and that Spanish period.
Yeah, that's when you get to like that Rock of Gibraltar. So you got to, I can't name it. It was before the Christians took over Spain, or the Moors, the Black Africans. They called Africans from Senegal and all them to help them. That's why you got that what's it called, Gabel Tariq, the Rock of Gibraltar. I forgot the word for it, but I know it's Al Tariq or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So that's when you get to how Spain come about. You get what I mean? And then you'll see why they did what they did over here. They logic and how it spread amongst us, and why a lot of us think the way we think. Did you know that down in Mexico that they just not recognizing that they got black communities down there? And it's probably be about a year or two. Or the indigenous community down there. You get what I mean? They just now doing this.
Yeah.
So education. That's what I profess. This is something that all of us can get in just by digging in our family and looking at the people they was dealing with, like how you found out about the people your ancestors dealing with, Mafia. And come find out that me and you got a connection in North Carolina, right?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And that's gonna like how Donnie was saying, the territorial possessiveness that we have over each other, east and west and north and south. It would alleviate a lot of the issues that we think we have with each other from the different perspectives that we have. We connect to that source and see the commonalities between where we coming from.
Yeah, I think a lot of us don't understand the migrations of quote unquote black people here. I think they think that from 1619 that we came from Virginia, then we came and filled the South. But a lot of quote unquote black people come from Jamaica and from the Bahamas, especially. The Bahamas sits right next to South Carolina. You know what I mean? Not that far. Right. You know what I mean? So then you got people that got ancestors from Cuba here. You got people in Louisiana got ancestors from Haiti. You know what I'm saying?
Because the Haitian Empire was in North America as well too, right?
Yeah, and here go another one. So you got Mexicans crossing the border, right? They got Jamaican roots because the Jamaicans, that's who used to do. The Jamaicans used to go to Mexico and trade. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of mixed Jamaican and Mexican folks that's there. This is history that people don't talk about. You know, people ain't educated upon. You know what I mean? You got people from the Philippines coming here. You know what I'm saying? You got people coming out of Russia, the Inuits, and you got people coming out of Halifax, and you know what I'm saying, Canada from the east. You know what I'm saying? You got all types of migrations happening. You know, right. But it's a good thing to learn. Then you'll understand people groups in certain places.
Right.
You know? Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know, one of the things that people don't quite grasp, and it's a humanity question, you know. So, you have this continent, and it is predominantly a melanated continent, and then you have these different folks coming here, and then they consolidated. The concept is the only good Indian is a dead Indian, right? So you say, well, what kind of human could do that? But then you look at them trying to make the buffalo extinct simply because that was a food source for the people that were here. So you're kind of dealing with a different type of person, and it's hard, just on the humanity thing to accept, right, that there could be a consortium of people that literally wanted to wipe out all remnants of the existing culture that was here. But that, if one can embrace that, do the research and look at the history of that, one can see how this confusion about melanated people being in North America, right? In more modern times, Adolf Hitler and his crew tried to literally exterminate all of the Jews out of Europe. I mean, that was one of his modus operandi. So those people do exist.
Yeah. I was thinking that one of the last great indigenous movements happened with Tecumseh. And he had a Shawnee father and a Muskogee mother. And this person links basically the whole southern and northern tribes, showing that it's a Muskogee or a mound builder root. Because if you get ancient to like the Olmecs, you get into the mound builders, you get into the Muskogee or the Chickasaws and the Choctaws and all these tribes coming up, the Shawnee. And then you get up into like Michigan, you got the Illinois tribes, that's the Lenapes and the Iroquois coming out of New York and north of there. You get what I mean? So you start understanding that he tried to make a state for all natives that didn't want to submit to this English thing here. It failed with the other ones who wanted to. And I'm noticing that even amongst the natives, the word white is synonymous with being right. it's red that's synonymous with being kind of evil amongst the Creeks. You know what I mean? Because it was the red sticks that did bad things. It was the white sticks who wanted to assimilate. You get what I mean? So it's an eye awakening thing. You start understanding why things are. That's my man there, Jeff.
Right.
Jesse Owens, right there on screen.
Yeah, shout out to Adolf Hitler.
Yeah, he had to bow down to that guy.
Shout out to Adolf Hitler.
Yeah, they talked a whole bunch of mess about black folks prior to him going there. How many records he break that day, Donnie? Like 3 or 4, something like that.
Don't make me go and look it up. But they put a comment in here. I'll go and look it up. But do y'all know anything about this? You ever heard of Jekyll Island?
Yeah.
Oh, for those of us who don't know, what is Jekyll Island, Georgia?
So off the coast of like Georgia, South Carolina, you got a string of islands that sit there. You got Hilton Head, you got Edisto Island, you know what I'm saying? You got Jekyll Island, you got St. Simon Island, you got a whole bunch of them. I'm not for sure what happened here, what's connecting with this
was
guy.
Jeffrey Epstein, was Epstein there? Because it was mentioned in
I'm not for sure about these old families. Like, you know, that's a Jewish last name, Epstein, you know, but they was down that way. You know, you look at them in Alabama, they have a history, you know, here in America too. You know, a lot of, you know, like I said, a lot of them assimilated and called themselves Creek too, to blend in, because they, you know, you had the British, you had the Spanish, you had the Catholics, and, you know, you have all types of people, you know, that was at war here. And you just couldn't be who you could be today. Put it that way.
Right.
You know, the ideology was there, but you couldn't just say, "Hey, I'm a Quaker," or I'm this person. You know, you kept that kind of to your sleeve. You know.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that.
But I do know Georgia is beautiful. I do know that whole landscape down there, and it's regional too. A beauty in Georgia looks different than a beauty in Alabama. You know what I mean? It's all beautiful, you know.
Okay, here we go. Thank you, Bill No Clinton. This is where they started the Federal Reserve at a private meeting on Jekyll Island and moved off the presumably the gold standard. Hannibal, tell me again what you know about our Creek chief named McIntosh.
So
that's the loaded question, right?
Yeah, that's a deep one, because so he was the one who sold Georgia and Alabama in 1825 under the Treaty of Indian Springs. He and his family, well, he was cousins to the governor of Georgia, Governor Troop. You know what I'm saying? Then he was also cousins to the Creek chief Alexander McGivery. You get what I mean? So he had Scottish ancestry, but in a nutshell, he was the chief of the lower creeks, the Coweta, the Coweta, and I don't believe his intentions was 100% to go against the tribe. I think he understood what was going to happen if they didn't sell. You get what I mean? And because he was the one who made the law, who said that if anybody sells some land, that it was treason, and for treason you get death. So for his own law that he created, the tribe gave him death. So that was his sacrifice. So like I say, I don't think he was 100% against the nation. I think he was trying to prevent some catastrophic happening.
Right, a master.
Is this William McIntosh, the Creek chief?
Yeah. So his name is Tustanugi Hutki. So that's Tustanugi means warrior, and Hutki means white. So, like I said, Hutki is a spin-off of why we say Hunky. It's Hutki.
So what you saying? He was a $5 Indian?
No, he was an Indian.
He was an Indian.
Yeah, he had a Scottish father and an Indian mother. And by the Muskogee rights, by his mother's clan, he's a native, no matter who his father is. He can have an African father, but as long as his mother is Indian. That's what makes it. That's all. Not all natives, because the Shawnee go by patrilineal. You know what I'm saying? But the majority of the tribes go by maternal. So you are who your mama is. You get what I mean?
And what was that law that they had? Was the follow the womb law or something like that?
Right. So you could the land is owned by the mother. So if you disconnected from your mama, meaning your clan and your tribe, that's why I'm not a proponent of just making you a tribe, because you don't got no claim to the land. You get what I mean? You don't know who your mama is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but he is the leader of what you call the White Sticks. You get what I mean? He was the one who signed the Treaty of Indian Springs, but that was the only treaty that got reversed. So when that treaty got reversed, here comes the Treaty of 1832 that got to deal with us personally, my family. You get what I mean? Because it was the other tribes chiefs was like, no, Alabama, we ain't want to give up Alabama. You know what I'm saying? So the president, I think Polk was the president at the time. He gave Alabama back into the natives in allotments. But that was going against what we actually wanted to do too, because not one person owned the land, but that was a way for those who wanted to stay home to stay there. But when they when they come to Coosa, that was the head mother town. So let's look at it. Coosa is the capital of the Creek Nation. So when they come to where we was at, the people that enslaved us were the admins of the land allotments. You know what I'm saying? They was the people that was doing dealings with Tustanugi Hutki, or they call him Tuscoona. When they said it, when you Tuskoonah, when they describe him, they describe Reuben Jordan. That was the guy who enslaved another part of us. When he comes into the county and he meets him, and this Reuben Jordan splits this guy named Robert Grayson's slaves. Remember I said on that thing that Oklahoma got a place called Grayson? So history says that a Scottish man named Robert Grierson, he owed a debt, and they took his slaves, or his slaves were his son's children. You get what I mean? This is how they look. You know, the slaves don't mean that you own these people. This is the way that you kept your family. You know, if you had a grandson that was part African, or you had a grandson that was part white, because you want a Indian or a fully, you know, they'll put you in a slave too. You know, you're part white back then too.
What's all these people want to put somebody in slavery? What's all that about?
That my people come
that was
from
war.
Yeah, so the Coweta is the lower creeks.
Damn, all these people want a slave. I mean, do your own, make your own damn bed up, cook your own damn food.
That's what I was trying to say. You got in the tribe, you had full brothers, you had the people that was coming from Scotland and coming from Ireland and coming from hundreds.
I don't care where you come from. Do your own damn work.
But this is history, Cub.
Right.
You know what I mean? This is what happened. So we looking at what happened. What's the solution? So my thing is to call them out.
Take their damn head off.
Yeah. So I know that it's deep. You know what I'm saying? That guy Tustanugi Hutki. You know,
I like to get paid. I like to get paid well, and I like to get paid on time. I really like it on time.
Yeah. But look at these guys when you come to George Washington and and Thomas Jefferson. These guys who I'm talking about right here is pivotal in history to the guys on our money.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's right.
This is where they got their money from.
That's
you know
right.
what I mean? They wasn't. These ain't just natives. They, shit. You had lumber industries down in Georgia. Georgia's full of trees. Alabama full of trees. Right? How you think they was building these houses and along the cabins? It ain't. You know what I'm saying? There's certain places that's plains, meaning that it's open area. Exactly. Not too many trees there, and it takes a while to grow some trees.
Mm-hmm.
So you got a whole vast area of mountains full of trees. You know what I mean? Yeah, they had lumber yards, lumber mills. They had textile mills. They down there they had sugar plantations. They had cotton plantations. They had whatever vegetables, beans, greens, whatever, tomatoes, whatever. They had all that stuff down there. Industries down there.
Yes, wickedness. Yes, Antoinette. Yes, wickedness.
Yeah.
Do your own damn work. That's what kills me. I see all these people on TV with cooking shows. Now you cooking for yourself. And you want to be the expert cook.
But the thing is, but what is slavery? So if you get yourself a business, right, and you call yourself hiring one of us, and you just give us $5-10 an hour, and no medical, no, like you say, a package, an employment package, is that slavery?
Absolutely.
Is it? Absolutely. Without a doubt.
Without a doubt.
But that's what the industry is. The industry is a workforce labor. Slavery is just workforce labor. It's just more emphasis on the force.
Yeah, right. because you only giving them just enough to come back. So when they have an issue or whatever, they can't get out of that issue. They got to go ahead and get a payday loan or get this extreme interest on a medical account or medical debt or whatever. You get what I mean? So it's slavery by other means. You get what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was saying because slavery was a sentence too. Like if I was indebted to you, I would have to get rid of that slavery until my debt is completed. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
If I was obligated to something, so that's also a part of it.
So what you think? So I'm sitting back and thinking about it. The same principles live today when you go be a electrician or you be a plumber. You taking being an indentureship or an apprenticeship. What you think an apprenticeship is? Mm-hmm. An apprenticeship is an indentureship. That's slavery. That's bondage. You got 4 years or such much time to work for me. I'm gonna pay you this much money until you get qualified to be this electric. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
People don't think.
Correct.
What's her name? Our mentor or Harriet Tubman said I could have freed many more people only if they knew they were slaves. Who she was talking to?
Yeah, like they said.
Elemental Ross, aka Harriet Tubman, straight out of Maryland.
Who she was talking to? She was talking to people that was business owners, people that was white, or people that was paying into the system, or whatever you was doing. People don't understand what's going on. When you get up in the morning, people rushing on the freeway, going to work. That's bondage. You don't have to be on the plantation no more. The whole city is the plantation.
Correct.
Yeah. And that's where you get into, like they say, the Slavs, the Slavic people, and how they were supposedly civilized. You know what I'm saying? And through that process is what created colonization. And then it's just the exploitation of the people.
Think about how vast places like Chicago and New York is, or even New York, the 13 colonies. Let's go back there. How vast that place is, and the percentage that this European is on the planet. It takes an accomplishment, an allegiance, and an alliance of other groups of people to make this colonization thing happen. Right. That's the underlying things when you see what they call a symbology, because certain things together mean certain things. You don't have to speak it out loud, but when certain groups of people see it, they understand. You get what I mean?
Right.
That's why they say the unseen hand, or certain people shake your hand a certain way. Have you ever felt somebody shake your hand and touch your like your wrist, the inside of the wrist with their fingers? You know what I'm saying? And, or try to shake your hand a certain way, give you a
Right.
Masonic handshake.
Masonic joint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do that on certain levels. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep. And they would been rolling like that, just like this.
Right.
That's the homies. That's what they was into.
That's what they do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's why when you see every city you go to set up in a certain manner, the institution setting up in a certain manner, because this is what they learned. This is knowledge of old. You get what I mean?
Right. Right. Exactly.
We just trying to pick out the bad parts of things, not throwing out the baby with the water, throwing out the whole ideology of where we at, because the whole where we at ain't totally bad. We picking out what's bad, because if anybody been following some rules, it's been us. Think about it.
There you go. There you go.
Think about that one. Who follows the rules more than us?
That's right. Totally.
It's just us trying to say, hey, we following the rules, but y'all doing this to us when we trying to follow the rules. You get what I mean?
Right.
In a nutshell. Work always existed. What you mean? What you think salary come from? You ain't worth your salt. They was paying people with salt back in the days.
Right.
That's in ancient times. That's before they even found the minerals and gems, because they like we said in one episode that they was trying to think, they thought they were gonna find the fountain of youth in Florida or somewhere, or they thought it was Atlantis or something. And then they started finding to the folklore of certain tribes that, or they found DeSoto found them silver bars and stuff. That's when they started finding the minerals, or got interested in the minerals.
Right.
So, we can talk all day, and this is a vast all strings connect. You know what I'm saying? Our history is a fluid history. I think that's why we learned what we learned about our greats coming up. You know what I'm saying? Because I remember going to elementary school, we had the greats on the wall, the pictures, and you could read standing in line for the water fountain what they did. It's hundreds of people, hundreds of inventors. Learning that water, what it was, ice cream come from us, the stoplight come from us, all types of things come from us. You get what I mean? That's empowering now. But what we gonna get when we got a criminal type of aspect going on? What ideology of criminality? I think that's the best way to say it. Our people idolize the criminal aspects, the mischief part of us, and that's no shame of those who's into that work, because I was into that world. I was a kid. I was a young boy here in Detroit, but what they call a young boy. If anybody want to do a study, look up young boys from Detroit. I was one that was into that, but I'm grown as heck. Hell no, I understand what was happening.
Right.
The mission is always to destroy us and get us distracted. And how you destroy any movement, destroy the kids.
Correct.
The adults is on a mission, destroy their kids. So get your kids in order. Everybody, all of us.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
Yeah, that's where it starts though, man, because the more we continue to omit the same energy, we're gonna have a continuum of the same thing. And then they say sometimes we do when we do certain things, sometimes they be like, oh man, that set us back 100 years though, like not really knowing the impact of that. Like we might just use that as an expression, but it really impacts the social order and how people move about their life with certain ideologies or takes on things or what principles and morals should be stood on.
So it's like, do we have that the repair of the family is needed? That's the core of it all. You know what I mean? Everybody got issues from the internal family in their homes. You know what I mean? Think about it.
Absolutely.
That's where it
why
starts.
I was speaking with one of my uncles, and I was telling them about, we always have a family reunion, and that's a good time, and we come together. But we don't have a state of the family union. You know what I'm saying? Like we come together for the family reunion to see and meet everybody, but what is the family goal as a whole? Like we don't have a state of the family union. Like what is who are the elders? What do the elders need? Who can provide for the elders? Who's gonna be there for the kids? What are we teaching the kids? Are we, you know what I'm saying? Like what is the family doing? And we just keep having family reunions. So I think putting some type of structure to why we coming together and purpose to that, it could help, as far as in the family setting.
You sound just like my cousin Marcus. That's my cousin Marcus' point of view on things, what we doing as a family. And my point of view is this. And I get it. We can do business with those who want to do business. It's historic here for us as a people. Our people is the only group of people in this country that's been getting together since emancipation. Think about it. Faithfully, every summer, our people gets together, no matter where we at. Right now, recently, Juneteenth became a big thing, but before then, the family union.
Right.
I told, look, my father found out he had a sister that lived in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, when this is 2005. My father was 61 years old. I drove him from Detroit to Lancaster, Pennsylvania to meet his sister for the first time. But that information came via us, our family in Alabama, all the way down south to connect Pennsylvania together to Detroit. Meet my auntie for the first time, my first cousins. You know what I'm saying? I think that doing family business, you know what I'm saying, that's a touchy thing because, money is a bad joker. Money destroys a lot of relationships when people don't, how it is. People get slide on $100 or $5. They ready to get at your throat. You get what I mean?
Absolutely. But I think the first family business that we have is our livelihood. So it's like we can come together to bury us and scrape up money to bury us and go through that whole process, but we can't do it to live a better life. That don't make sense to me.
So there was some comments over here in the chat. DJ Sweetness said that Dane Calloway had a piece on Harriet Tubman. I'd have to check that out. But this is William Still, and to my understanding, he helped recruit Harriet Tubman into the Underground Railroad. He was a conductor of the Underground Railroad. William Still, the father of the Underground Railroad, some would say.
I think it's a spirit of like debunking certain things that happened in the past. So if you come to Detroit, it's a church that sits on 4th Street. It's a big church there. They got a room there where the esclavos or the slaves, the enslaved, slept at before they crossed that river. And Detroit River is one of the most dangerous rivers to cross to get to Windsor, Canada. You know what I'm saying? So we got sites here in Michigan to prove that this thing happened. You get what I mean? And then it's right there at Greektown. It's the old Mariners Church. I think it's blue and white that sits right there. Right there when you go to the tunnel. There's a tunnel that takes you to Canada, and it's 2 bridges now that take you over there. But just imagine in the day when there wasn't no bridge. That's a long way, and it's an undertow, and you had to know how to swim across. Come on, look at how many people died in that Detroit River, and then you got a lot of people. They want to get away from freedom so bad that they rather jump in that Detroit River and cross over to Canada. Come on.
Yeah.
We walked from out
like they was talking about that Dane Calloway piece about Harriet Tubman not existing. I probably would have to watch that again, but I think sometimes it's like the characteristics. It's the same thing, like how you saying debunking things, or the characteristics of the people that we describing might not be the names that they was called by. Like, like Pocahontas' name is not Pocahontas. You see what I'm saying? So, I remember me and Hannibal, we was going over that Revel line, and we came across Samuel Miles, and he was connected to the Underground Railroad as well. That same Miles that was on that bill of sale.
Right. I think the thing is, a lot of the tribe names is Eurolized, Eurocentric or angelicalized. That's the word first, because it was angelic Christians that came over here first. So they angelicized the words first.
The one thing I would like, if people have a comment, tell me what was said. Don't send me somewhere else. So here's the link. Don't leave me wondering. We present information here, and if you got some, I really want to know what was said about Harriet Tubman. Please tell me. Have any of you ever heard something that dismissed her history? Unless somebody lied to me, I thought I visited a house. I thought I met a relative. I mean, what am I missing?
Did he disprove that Armenta didn't exist? We know her name wasn't Harriet Tubman.
And they said they gave us nobody gave me the history. I mean, it's a story everybody knows. For a woman that didn't exist, for them to have schools named after. I was in New Orleans, a school named after her down there. You got to tell me more than just put that out there. That is someone that I absolutely revere. And so if you got some information, please put it up.
No, for sure. Like I said, I definitely would have to watch.
Come on, come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah, that's what they were saying.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Come on. What else is not true?
That's what they were saying.
Was Denmark VC true? Was Tucson Louverture true? Was Zumbi in Brazil true? What else is not true? I mean, come on. You have to show me. Do more than talk. Come on, give me some facts.
Yeah,
give me some facts. Here's the link. We put the link up. Here's the link. Come on, share your truth. Don't tell me what somebody said. Come on in. Come on now.
But like, that's how I feel about, when we talk about things, is I think what Hannibal was saying, we go so far to debunk things because of the uncovering of the real truth, and we get caught up in the name sometimes, but the situations and the stories that they are telling are real stories. It's just that the name placements, that's a part of the colonization. Is not just taking the history and the information. Now they are asserting a certain propaganda within the information in order to be able to control your mind and your perspective.
I know if it wasn't a damn Harriet Tubman or Nat Turner, it was somebody like them with a different name. So be it. Say what you want.
Exactly.
But ain't no way you're going to tell me how people just took to some damn chains lying down. There was some fighting going on. Some furniture was getting moved. Was Frederick Douglass also alive? His narrative said that they sent him to Mr. Covey, who was a nigger breaker.
Yeah. Do our
what happened? Mr. Covey got his back broke. So keep on coming with the stories. We gotta be careful
with that.
Do our people know that the first great migration came from slaves from Canada coming into like Detroit? That's the first great migration.
Can you put a year on that? Can you put a time frame on that?
They call it French Canadians. It's black people here with green eyes.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And they got French last names. I got a great nephew. His name they got names like Quailers or Quates or something like that. You know what I mean? So that was the first people that came to that was migrating and stuff. You know, our history here is not one unified story.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it was people
exactly.
getting down here. You know what I'm saying? Did you know it was sex plantations here? They don't talk about that,
absolutely.
right? Did you know that it was?
Mhm.
Did you know that
Breeding
when they
camp.
called the wilderness, like when they was in South Carolina and stuff, that the sex plantation was out in Georgia and Alabama? Come on, they don't
Right.
talk about the dirty deeds, but we got our people want to go ahead and debunk what our ancestors been through, but that's gonna be a sad thing because you're gonna set yourself up. Because you're gonna think that okay, this stuff didn't happen, that this group of people didn't do that, then they gonna hit you with the okie doke again. You get what I mean?
Right. Right.
Right.
That's how it always
You done got me revved up now.
You see it?
You got me revved up now. I got something for you. You want to tell me about these people? Let me tell you what I know about these people. You know about that? You know about that?
Oh yeah. Oh, I know.
Yeah, absolutely.
You tell me about. So now all of that we know, we don't know because somebody said something. Come on, man.
I know about
Let me
that.
tell you what we know about these people.
Yeah.
Get me started about
But
these.
that's down in where? Louisiana, Florida, down that way.
Florida, right? You know where it is. We know about these people.
Yeah.
Don't tell me about these people.
Yeah.
Don't tell me about the savagery of these people. And don't tell me my people took it lying down. I don't care. I don't know what their names were, but I know somebody was fighting. You know why? Because we got fighters here today. That's why.
Look at the besides the communities from the north on the northeast. Besides,
I'm not. No. You.
I'm just talking about the migration.
Go somewhere else. No, we right here. Bring it right here.
No, what I'm saying is that our people fight across here.
He's talking to the chat.
My bad.
Go listen. No, bring it right here. You bring it right here. I'm not going nowhere. Bring it right here. No distractions. I'm all for other scholars. I'm all for learning from anybody. But come on now, you can't just go rewriting damn history. We know these people. We know exactly who they are. They've shown us over and over, and we keep buying it.
I shared something in the chat. Do you remember what I shared in the chat about? We was talking about Malcolm X guys, and we was talking about Malcolm X killers. And it was a group that's similar to like the KKK. And it's my first time ever seeing these folks. And
the Black Legion.
The Black Legion.
Black Legion.
And I'm here in Michigan. You know, I'm, you know what I'm saying? Come on. You know, with
I heard about the Black Legion. Yeah, I heard about the Black Legion. That was like aligned with Earl Little, his father. His father working with, like, they had a video working with the Garveyites, and you know, it came through his lineage. That's that genetic memory you already talking about. You know what I'm saying? Even though in his earlier path he chose different decisions, but once he got into it and tapped into that same school of thought from a different knowledge base, it still omit the same energy.
That's what the atrocities people went through down in that and the South was horrendous. What's the word I'm looking for? Is unspeakable. Horrendous. It's unspeakable stuff. You know what I mean? We can point out certain things. You know what I'm saying? It's like digression when you say, "Well, this ain't this." You know. So what we do now? What happened? You know what I'm saying?
On the night of 21 to 22 August 1831, Nat Turner, a slave preacher, began an insurrection some 7 miles west with a band that grew to about 70 people. They moved northeast towards Southampton County seat, Jerusalem, now Cortland, killing about 60 whites. After 2 days, militiamen and armed civilians quelled the revolt. Turner was captured October 30th, tried and convicted and hanged November 11th. Some 30 blacks were hanged or expelled from Virginia. In response to the revolt, the General Assembly passed harsher slave laws and censored abolitionists.
Now, could we find like so we can go back to that 1831 and we can go to that state and we can find the laws and see what laws was put on the books to see did this or this person actually exist or not. That's how you do like theories or scholarly investigations. You know what I'm saying? So we got a date of August 1831, chat. So if anybody want to go ahead and do the research to prove that if Nat Turner lived or not, that's where you go to find if any laws or anything was changed after that point in that state, Virginia. You can even look in Maryland as well. But it's also with it's another place that you see they said Jerusalem. And there's another place up there. They talk about the free Negroes that was there of Thomas Jefferson's wife. That's up there. You know, they got a lot of historic markers that's up in Virginia that give you a diverse look at our history, not just indigenous, but other people groups as well.
$300 reward. Ran away from the subscriber on Monday, 17th. 3 Negroes named as follows. Harry, aged about 19 years, has on one side of his neck something just under the ear. He is of a dark chestnut color, about 5'8" or 9 inches. Ben, aged about 25 years, is very quick to speak when spoken to. He is of chestnut color, about 6 feet high. Minty, Araminta Ross, a.k.a. Harriet Tubman, about 27 years, is of a chestnut color, fine looking, and 5 foot something feet high. $100 reward will be given for each of the slave. And this document, by the way, is from the Delaware Gazette, October 3rd, 1849, near Bucktown, Dorchester County, 1849.
Absolutely.
She didn't exist. Well, who the hell is this lady then? Who is this lady that they've documented?
Right. Right. And that's the same thing that you do when you're doing your genealogy. Like Hannibal said, you look at the dates, you look at the town, and you cross-reference the information to be able to uncover what you're looking for.
They did a lot of damn work to hide somebody who didn't exist. They did a lot of work to create her. That's her on the left, on right there, right here. That's Harriet Tubman. And she owned land. She owned land in upstate New York. I visited there in Lewiston, New York. She had property there. Lewiston, New York, right next door to Niagara, New York. That's with my hero now. I'm excited. Come on, Planet. You might as well get them. You know, we got to reach out to old boy. We got to hear his voice. Planet, you want to take over?
Okay. Okay. So we can step into a little stillness and see if
I'm gonna need some extra time because I'm a little revved up.
Okay. So when we're looking at ourselves as independent, created beings, right? We often get caught up in our story and our personal story and the stresses of living in America, the United States, I should say, right? And a lot of times we get so caught up in that we forget our true nature and how powerful our true nature is. So, you know, most of us, if not all of us, have experienced at some point in time dreaming. When you have a dream, and I say when you have a dream, you're generally asleep and you have a dream. So when you're asleep, you know, your eyes are closed and you're in darkness, and then you have a dream and you look at the dream because there's light. So who puts the light there? So you can, right? So if you're in the dream, you see yourself in the dream and you're acting out whatever you act out in the dream. But I ask once again, who's looking at you in the dream? All right? Just something to think about. Okay. So let's resonate with this piece. And let's take
I'm looking at me.
2 breaths. And let's take that in, and so we can fall into the stillness. Okay. Now I want to say this, that we are so amazing that we have the ability to simply imagine that bell, okay, that sound, without even me hitting it or anything like that. So if you feel compelled to experience silence, what you can do with your imagination is you can recall that sound to aid you in accessing your stillness. it may help.
Can you hit that bowl one more time? Because I think you had a couple misfires.
Okay, it wasn't okay.
You have not because you asked not.
Okay, you ready? Oh, there's my brother. Hey now, Horace.
Yeah, he right in here.
Peace.
Okay.
Peace, planet. Peace, brothers. Peace,
The
brothers.
comment
Peace,
says, since we on it, it says, big truck driver.
Okay, so I'm gonna hit it one more time.
Oh yeah.
For the big truck driver.
Okay.
That's what I'm talking about, man. That's what I'm talking about. Horace Lee the Fourth.
Peace, brother. Peace.
We know you've been resting. Everybody saying hello to you. You got the floor.
Yeah, man. But nah, that was
How you doing?
Yeah, I just woke up, man, to take me a little. Well, I'm all right, man. Just I'm better than I was, man, about an hour and a half ago, because I had to pull over and take me a little nap, But I was watching the show, of course, and I sent y'all a text message earlier, man. I was down in Selma, Alabama, and so I drove across that infamous bridge that I think Dr. King and them marched across. I don't know what river that is under there, but they can feel the energy. You can feel the energy when you go over that bridge, man.
Yeah, the Pettis Bridge. I think that's what it's called.
You can feel the energy, man.
Wow.
Yeah, I think that is it, the Pettis Bridge. Yep, that's exactly what it is. Yep. Yeah, that's my first time ever being in Selma, man.
Okay.
And I can tell you that the level of poverty for the brothers and sisters down there is below where it should be at. Put it like that.
Mm-hmm.
You can see it, man, in the housing and some of the projects that they still got down there, man. Yeah, man, they got the Indians in messed up shape on the land, brothers.
This cat need to go do his homework. We know who Frederick Douglass looked
Yeah,
like.
I'm not echoing.
He's from Maryland, and he's the most photographed black man of his era. We know who Frederick Douglass looked like. I'm not sure where this guy comes from or girl. Safe travels, Horace, from DJ Sweetness.
Hey, I want to say something, and yeah, appreciate that, DJ Sweetness. I want to say something in the words of my great brother. I'm gonna have to add into the list, Ray Hagans. No, you got a circle, and inside that circle is what you know or what you think you know. Outside of that circle is vast, man. So what we know and what we think we know that's inside the circle, man. That outside the circle is more extensive than that is. And in regards to the story about Harriet Tubman, well, Dane Calloway presented evidence showing how the Smithsonian, as well as some lady writer, owned the rights to Harriet Tubman because she allegedly created the story. So now, whether that's true or not, no, I'm not sure. And he said something, also running along the lines of Nat Turner, as well, as if they're made up stories, and that the Smithsonian was behind them and some more people who actually authenticated, or should I say, created those stories. Now, for what reason they would create them, I'm not sure. You know, so like I said, you know, I don't know whether it's actually true or not, but I do know that there are a lot of things that we have been taught, since we came out of our mother's womb, that we're finding evidence of them being uh, false to this very day. I mean, we're still trying to get the people to grasp the Christianity concept, and they can't let it go, man. So there's other things. Go ahead, brother.
So out of the blue, now Harriet Tubman didn't exist. Did the Underground Railroad exist? Did Williams still exist? Did the other countless people who helped Black people escape slavery, did they exist? And if they did exist, out of them, there had to be an all-star. So I don't know if her name was Harriet Tubman, because I live here in Maryland. And there are plenty of historians in my circle from the Eastern Shore that I have never heard of. So I will certainly have to check those sources. And I tell you, I will be on it right away.
Yeah, I know it's.
I do not doubt the Smithsonian. We know they devils. But to say it's a story that is well known around Maryland. So I'm not sure where Dane is from. We do know the Smithsonian, the snakes.
Well,
I'll have to go and check. Nat Turner.
I think you're from the D.C. area, if I'm not mistaken.
No, nobody gets a pass on it. We'll check Dane Calloway, Skip Gates, and whomever else.
In fact, that
I mean, these people are not God, you know. So you got to show me. She dramatized.
Yeah, well, I never take anything anybody says and run with it just because they say it. Can y'all still hear me in the on here? Can y'all still hear me?
Yeah, you good.
Well, I guess not.
We can hear you.
You can hear me. You can hear me, Mafia?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, we got to check. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think I got a hell of a delay.
Yeah, you're doing fine. Probably. Just go right ahead.
All right. Yeah,
so
man.
There's a lot of things in here, but it's 10:08.
Yeah, I think that the delay is too strong for me to actually hold a regular conversation.
No, it ain't no damn common sense. They got a lot of slick stuff. I wish you just come on. I don't like that stuff. Come on in here. Speak your truth. It's common sense. No, it's not common sense. No, it's not. Come on in here and speak your truth. Enough with the comments. I'm done. Good night, y'all.
Say, hey, Horace, could you hear me?
Peace.
Hey, could you be able to do your
Yeah, I can hear you.
Could you do your salutes to your libations and everything for everybody? And we can hear you perfectly, sir.
A lot. Well, yeah, I can, but I got a delay. It's a delay, like a 20-second delay.
Okay.
Nah, but it's good on our end, though.
Well, actually, but no, brother, I said that 30 seconds ago.
Oh.
Right.
Well, it's some hot topics tonight. So we're gonna like Donnie say, we invited all points of views on the subject, but we want to bring some facts and we can have a civil debate on things. You get what I mean?
Absolutely.
And I think this is an arena that we can have that type of discussion here. Facts efficient, you get what I mean?
Absolutely.
And then we can discuss it maturely. But I'd like to thank everybody that tuned in tonight, and I like everybody that participated in the comments and like everybody that stayed through the whole 2-hour show that we had tonight. And of course, like always, we're going to be here this Thursday coming up. I'd like to say peace to everybody out here. And do anybody want to say some last words?
Man, I appreciate the love and support. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the panel.
Blessings to everyone.
All right. Until next time, everybody. Love and peace.
Peace. Peace.
Peace.